The discovery of Betrayal Commander Sarah Chen walked through the crystal corridors of Nexus Station with the same confident stride she had maintained for 15 years. The massive space station served as the capital of the Galactic Council, home to representatives from 43 different species. Sarah had dedicated her career to building bridges between humanity and the older, more established civilizations of the galaxy. The morning briefing had been routine. Trade agreements with the Voss Collective, mining rights in the Outer Rim, standard diplomatic procedures that kept the galaxy functioning smoothly. Sarah enjoyed the work, even if some of her colleagues back on Earth thought it was boring. She believed in cooperation, in finding common ground between species that had evolved on different worlds under different stars. As she approached her office in the human embassy wing, Sarah noticed something unusual. The corridor was unusually quiet. Normally, staff members from various species moved through these halls conducting business. Today, the area seemed almost deserted. A strange energy hung in the air, like the moment before a thunderstorm. Sarah's assistant, a young man named David Park, looked up nervously as she entered. His hands shook slightly as he handed her the day's reports. Something was definitely wrong. David had worked with Sarah for 3 years and had never shown signs of anxiety during routine diplomatic work. "Commander," David whispered, glancing around to make sure they were alone. "I think you need to see something. I was delivering documents to the Keth embassy this morning when I overheard a conversation. The Keth ambassador was speaking with someone from the Xylonian Republic. They mentioned something called the Purge Protocol." Sarah felt a cold sensation spread through her chest. In all her years of diplomatic service, she had never heard that term. Protocol names in galactic politics were usually boring and descriptive. Emergency Evacuation Protocol, Trade Dispute Resolution Protocol. The word purge suggested something far more sinister. "What exactly did you hear?" Sarah asked, keeping her voice steady despite the growing alarm in her mind. David pulled out his personal datapad and showed her a recording. His hands were still trembling. "I activated my personal recorder when I realized they were discussing something classified. Listen to this." The recording was brief but devastating. The Keth ambassador's deep, rumbling voice was unmistakable. "The Purge Protocol has been approved by all 7 primary species. The human population growth rate has exceeded acceptable parameters. Their technological advancement threatens the established galactic order. Total elimination is scheduled to begin in 72 hours. Sarah's world tilted. 15 years of diplomatic work, 15 years of building relationships and trust, and the aliens she had considered friends were planning genocide. The recording continued with more horrifying details. The plan involved simultaneous strikes on Earth and all human colonies. No survivors were to be left. "We need to get this information to Earth immediately," Sarah said, her training taking over even as her personal world crumbled. "Contact the Earth Communication Array. Send this recording through encrypted channels." David's face went pale. "I already tried, Commander. All human communication systems have been disabled. They're jamming our signals. We're completely cut off." The full scope of the betrayal became clear. This wasn't a hasty decision made in panic. The Galactic Council had been planning this for months, maybe years. They had systematically isolated humanity before striking. Sarah realized that every friendly conversation, every trade agreement, every diplomatic victory had been part of an elaborate deception. "Then we have to get off this station and warn Earth in person," Sarah decided. How long until the next transport to human space? The weekly supply run isn't for another 5 days, David replied. But Commander, I don't think they're going to let us leave. Security around the human quarters has been increased. There are Keth guards at every exit. Sarah moved to her office window and looked out at the docking bays. Sure enough, heavily armed aliens were positioned at strategic points throughout the station. Humanity's diplomatic mission had become a prison. The aliens were making sure. No word of their plan reached Earth, but Sarah Chen hadn't survived 15 years in galactic politics without learning how to handle difficult situations. She had contingency plans that even her own government didn't know about. During her first year on Nexus Station, she had discovered maintenance tunnels that connected different sections of the massive structure. She had explored them out of curiosity, mapping routes that bypassed official corridors. David, I need you to create a distraction, Sarah instructed. Go to the main diplomatic hall and start a loud argument about trade violations with the Voss representative. Make it sound like a typical human complaint about unfair treatment. Keep their attention focused on you. While David reluctantly went. To cause a diplomatic incident, Sarah accessed her personal safe. Inside, she kept emergency supplies that every deep space diplomat carried. Food tablets, breathing apparatus, and, most importantly, a quantum encryption device that could store massive amounts of data. She downloaded every file she could access about the Purge Protocol, along with detailed intelligence about the alien fleet positions. The maintenance tunnels were cramped and dark, but Sarah had memorized the routes years ago. She crawled through narrow passages that ran behind the walls of the diplomatic quarters. The tunnels led to the station's lower levels, where cargo and maintenance vehicles operated. If she could reach the service bays, she might be able to steal a small transport vessel. Behind her, she could hear alarms beginning to sound. David's distraction had worked, but now the aliens would realize that Sarah was missing. Security teams would be searching for her throughout the station. She had to move quickly. The service bay was enormous, filled with cargo containers and maintenance equipment. Small transport pods, designed for inter-system travel, sat in rows like sleeping metal insects. Sarah had watched maintenance crews operate these vehicles and understood the basic controls. The pods were simple, designed to be operated by various alien species with different physical capabilities. As she climbed into the nearest transport pod, Sarah heard heavy footsteps echoing through the corridors behind her. Alien security forces were closing in. She activated the pod's systems and felt the small craft lift off the deck. The bay doors were already beginning to close, but Sarah pushed the engines to maximum power and shot through the narrowing gap into open space. Nexus Station fell away behind her as the transport pod accelerated toward the edge of the star system. Sarah knew the aliens would pursue her, but the small pod had one advantage. It was designed for maintenance work and had basic stealth capabilities to avoid interfering with larger ship operations. She activated the stealth systems and changed course several times, hoping to confuse any pursuers. The journey to Earth would take for days at maximum speed. Sarah settled in for the long flight, reviewing the intelligence she had gathered. The scope of the alien betrayal was staggering. 7 major species had voted unanimously for human extinction. The Keth Empire, the Xylonian Republic, the Voss Collective, and 4 others had decided that humanity represented an unacceptable threat to their established order. But as Sarah read through the intelligence files, she began to notice something interesting. The alien assessments of human military capability seemed outdated and incomplete. They estimated that Earth possessed perhaps 200 ships, mostly older designs, adapted from alien technology. The aliens believed that humanity's space fleet was weak and disorganized. Sarah knew this assessment was wrong, but she couldn't understand why. As a diplomatic liaison, she didn't have access to classified military information. However, she had noticed unusual activity during her visits to Earth over the years. Construction projects in remote asteroid fields, unexplained increases in military personnel, scientists and engineers being recruited for classified projects. During her third day of travel, Sarah received an encrypted message on an emergency frequency that most people thought was reserved for navigation beacons. The message was brief: package received, delivery confirmed, welcome home protocols activated. Sarah didn't understand the message, but something about it filled her with hope. Someone on Earth was expecting her. Someone knew she was coming with vital intelligence. The message suggested that Earth's leadership wasn't as unprepared as the aliens believed. As her transport pod approached Earth's solar system, Sarah saw something that made her gasp in amazement. The space around Earth wasn't defended by 200 obsolete ships. Massive vessels that she had never seen before moved in perfect formations around the planet. Sleek, predatory ships that looked nothing like the converted alien technology the Galactic Council expected to find. A communication came through on military frequencies. Commander Chen, this is Fleet Admiral Marcus Torres. We've been waiting for you. Please proceed to Docking Bay 7 of the Orbital Command Station. We have much to discuss. Sarah realized that humanity had been keeping secrets of its own. While the aliens planned their betrayal, Earth had been preparing for war. The next few hours would determine whether humanity survived or joined the list of extinct species that had underestimated the older civilizations of the galaxy. The Warfleet Strikes Back Fleet Admiral Marcus Torres stood in the command center of humanity's most classified military installation. The Orbital Command Station appeared on public records as a research facility, but in reality, it served as the nerve center for Operation Enduring Shield. For 20 years, Torres had overseen the development of humanity's true military capability, hidden from alien observation through careful deception and misdirection. Commander Sarah Chen sat across from him in the secure briefing room, her face still showing signs of exhaustion from her desperate escape from Nexus Station. The intelligence she had brought confirmed what Torres had suspected for years. The Galactic Council viewed humanity as a threat that needed to be eliminated before it became too powerful. Commander Chen, Torres began, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had prepared for this moment for decades. What you're about to learn is classified at the highest levels. Even most of Earth's government doesn't know the full scope of what we've built. The briefing room's walls activated, showing holographic displays of star charts and ship designs. Sarah gasped as she saw the true extent of humanity's military preparation. Hidden bases in asteroid fields, shipyards built inside hollowed-out moons, manufacturing facilities that had been disguised as mining operations. We've been building a real space fleet for 20 years, Torres explained. Every ship the aliens have seen is a deliberate deception. Old, slow vessels designed to make them think we're using their cast-off technology. Meanwhile, we've been developing our own designs based on human engineering principles. The holographic displays showed ships that looked nothing like the curved, organic designs favored by most alien species. Human vessels were angular and efficient, built for speed and firepower. They incorporated technology that the aliens had never shared, innovations that human scientists had developed independently. "How many ships?" Sarah asked, still trying to process the scope of the deception. 847 combat vessels, Torres replied with pride. Each one equipped with technology the aliens don't know we possess. Quantum stealth systems, adaptive artificial intelligence, and weapons that can punch through any shield system in the galaxy. Torres activated. Another display showing real-time positions of alien fleets. The Galactic Council had positioned ships around every human colony, preparing for simultaneous strikes that would wipe out humanity in a single coordinated attack. They expected to face minimal resistance from Earth's supposedly primitive fleet. They're planning to attack in 18 hours, Torres continued. 7 alien fleets, over 3,000 ships total. It would be overwhelming if they were facing the fleet they think we have. But they're not. Sarah looked at the tactical displays, showing the positions of both human and alien forces. "What's our plan?" Torres smiled, and Sarah realized it wasn't a pleasant expression. It was the smile of a predator that had been hiding in tall grass, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "We're going to hit them first, simultaneously, at every alien homeworld. While they're positioning their fleets to attack our colonies, we're going to destroy their ability to wage war." The scope of the operation was staggering. Human task forces had been secretly positioned throughout the galaxy, using stealth technology to avoid detection. Each alien species that had voted for human extinction would face a surprise attack on their most important military installations. "The aliens think in terms of massive fleet battles," Torres explained. "They gather their ships together and attack. In formation, like naval battles from ancient Earth history. But we're going to fight like humans fight. Fast, unpredictable, hitting them where they don't expect it." Torres activated a communication link to the fleet commanders positioned throughout the galaxy. Sarah watched as reports came in from captains she had never heard of, commanding ships with names like Retribution, Defiance, and Human Pride. Each task force reported ready for immediate action. "All units, this is Fleet Admiral Torres," he spoke into the communication system. "Operation Enduring Shield is now active. You have authorization to engage alien military targets. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity." The first reports came in within minutes. Captain Jennifer Walsh, commanding the stealth destroyer Lightning Strike, had successfully infiltrated the Keth Empire's primary shipyard. Her ships, quantum torpedoes, destroyed 3 massive battlecruisers that were still under construction, along with the manufacturing facilities that produced them. Across the galaxy, similar attacks were taking place simultaneously. Human ships appeared without warning in alien home systems, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before defenders could respond. The aliens had spent centuries developing military doctrine based on predictable, ceremonial warfare. They had no experience fighting an enemy that refused to follow established rules. Captain Robert Kim reported from the Xylonian Republic's capital system. Primary military command destroyed. Orbital defense platforms eliminated. Enemy fleets scattered and retreating. His ship, the Perseverance, had used advanced jamming technology to disable Xylonian communications before systematically destroying their military infrastructure. The alien fleets positioned to attack human colonies found themselves receiving panicked distress calls from their homeworlds. Their carefully planned genocide was falling apart as their own civilizations came under attack from an enemy they had drastically underestimated. Torres watched the tactical displays as red dots, representing alien military assets, disappeared across the galaxy. Each destroyed facility represented years of alien military development erased in minutes. The psychological effect was as important as the physical damage. The aliens had never faced an enemy capable of striking at their heartland while their fleets were deployed elsewhere. "Admiral," reported Commander Lisa Park from the communications station, "we're receiving surrender offers from 3 alien species. The Voss Collective is requesting immediate ceasefire negotiations. Tell them we'll consider their surrender after they recall all fleets threatening human territory," Torres replied, "and make it clear that any attack on human colonies will result in the complete destruction of their homeworld." The battle reports continued to pour in. Human ships were outperforming every expectation, their advanced technology giving them overwhelming advantages in speed, firepower, and tactical flexibility. The aliens' numerical superiority meant nothing when human vessels could strike without warning and disappear before retaliation was possible. Captain Maria Santos, commanding the battlecruiser Indomitable, engaged a Keth battle fleet of 12 ships with her single vessel, using hidden-run tactics that the aliens couldn't counter. She destroyed 8 enemy ships and crippled the remaining 4 before they could land a single shot on her vessel. "The aliens are calling for a general retreat," reported Commander Park. "All 7 species are attempting to recall their fleets to defend their homeworlds." Torres nodded with satisfaction. The plan was working exactly as designed. By threatening the aliens' homes, humanity had forced them to abandon their genocide and focus on protecting themselves. But the retreat wouldn't save them. Human ships were faster and more maneuverable than anything in the alien fleets. "All units, pursue and destroy," Torres ordered. "Don't let any of their ships reach safe harbor. Make them understand that threatening humanity was the biggest mistake in galactic history." The pursuit phase of the operation was devastating for the alien forces. Human ships used their superior speed to intercept retreating alien vessels, destroying them before they could reach home. The aliens' massive, slow battlecruisers became easy targets for human ships that could dance around them at will. Within 12 hours, the military power of 7 major alien civilizations had been effectively eliminated. Their fleets were destroyed, their shipyards ruined, their ability to wage war reduced to nothing. The species that had voted unanimously to exterminate humanity were now defenseless against human retaliation. Torres received a priority: communication from Earth's leadership. President Chen wanted to know about terms for ending the conflict. The aliens were requesting immediate peace negotiations, offering to pay reparations and accept any conditions humanity demanded. "What are your recommendations, Admiral?" the President asked. Torres looked at the tactical display, showing the complete dominance of human forces throughout the galaxy. 24 hours ago, these aliens had been planning genocide. Now they were begging for mercy. The irony was not lost on him. "We establish a new galactic order," Torres replied. "One where threatening innocent species results in immediate and overwhelming retaliation. We become the protectors, not the victims." Sarah Chen, who had been quietly observing the operation, spoke up. "Admiral, what about the other alien species? The ones who weren't part of the conspiracy?" Torres smiled, and this time it was a genuinely warm expression. "They get to see what happens when you ally with humanity instead of opposing us. I suspect we're going to have a lot of new friends in the galaxy." The war was over in less than 24 hours. Humanity had gone from potential victims of genocide to to the dominant military power in the galaxy. The aliens had learned too late that underestimating human determination and ingenuity was a fatal mistake. As reports of alien surrenders continued to arrive, Sarah realized that her 15 years of diplomatic work hadn't been wasted after all. The relationships she had built with honest alien species would be crucial for establishing a new, more just galactic civilization. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity would make sure it was better. Asterisk.